Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be back with you again. And today I want to talk about introverts need people. It's kind of a different subject. It sounds like a oxymoron or a contradiction of terms because we like to brag about how we don't need people. We don't need anybody. We can do this all by ourselves. Well, I'm going to call the bluff and say hogwash on that. I'm going to call your hand. No, we all need people. Um, I don't know how many of you have ever watched the old episodes of The Twilight Zone, but there are several of them that deal with this very subject. You'll find some of the episodes dealing with, well, one in particular comes to mind is a man who's banished to a life sentence on an asteroid all by himself, and so that was part of his sentencing. So he's taken to space, dropped off on an asteroid, and he's living there. And I guess whoever, whatever officials made the decision, for him being there, felt sorry for him and decided they would send a robot for a companion. So he builds the robot. It's a female, of course. And so, anyway, she's very attractive and she spends the time with him there. And so it makes it bearable for him to be on that asteroid as long as he has companionship, somebody to talk to, somebody to, have relationships with and all that. So when they got ready to take him off the asteroid, he didn't want to leave. He had companionship. Why should I go anywhere? I've got somebody to share my life with. Well, his sentence was up. They had found out that he wasn't guilty, so of whatever crime he'd committed back on Earth. So they said, "We're coming to get you." He didn't want to leave. So one of the men said, "We only have 15 minutes to take off." So they went and destroyed the humanoid or the uh, machine, the robot, and sure enough, underneath the skin was all these mechanical parts and everything. And they busted it all up, packed his belongings, and got out of there. So took him back home. So it's kind of a strange thing, but um, it, another episode dealt with a man who just winds up in a town. There's nobody there. There's cars, there's houses, there's businesses, there's money, there's food, there's everything, grocery stores, but there's no people. And he's rummaging through this town, screaming and hollering, trying to find somebody, some companionship, somebody to talk to. Is there anybody alive in this town? Is there anybody here? And finally, after several days of this, he goes crazy and he loses his mind. Well, when he loses his mind, he wakes up and he's in a little metal container with all these um, wires hooked to him. And it was a government experiment to find out how a man would react if he was put into space, I guess, for a long period of time with no companionship, nobody to talk to, if he was by himself. So they did this experiment. How long could a man go without any relationship, any companionship, anybody to talk to? And so about 2 weeks, the man cracked. Um, I think about the psychopaths that rule the world. We're going to take over the world and we're going to have it all to ourselves, depopulate the planet. So, Bill Gates wants to get rid of all of us. So, do your thing. Get rid of all of us. What's going to happen when they step off the ark and they're the only ones left? There was another episode in The Twilight Zone where the world was at war. There was a world war, destroyed everybody. And there was one man that crawled out of the rubble. He's frantically trying to find somebody alive. Nobody's alive. Nowhere he goes can he find anyone, no companionship. And finally, in the middle of the program, another woman crawls out of the crowd. And so the show ended up being called Adam and Eve because they were going to start the whole thing all over, start the world, start the process. So that becomes his companion because there's no one else. No one's left but him and her. But the despair and the grief and the pain, the agony, the anguish on the faces of those who thought or who feel like they're the only ones left was really beyond words. So I think about those who think I want to rule the world. I want to take it all over and it's all going to be mine. If it was all yours, tomorrow or today you had all the money, all the wealth, all the planet, all the fixtures, everything. If everything was yours and there was no one left to compete with you and everything belonged to you, how long would you be happy? There's no media there to cover the success of your story. Who's going to watch it? Who's going to film it? There's no one there to brag to about, hey, look what I've done. I control the world now. I'm my own king. I'm the god of my own planet. Really? What kind of existence would that be? You know, there's a reason why the Bible says it's not good for man to be alone. Because it's not. I don't think any of us can handle that for very long. Isolation, independence, just leave me alone. We're not wired that way. Now, you say, well, preacher, I'm an introvert, so I've got to have people. I don't need people. No, you do need people. You need certain kinds of people. And you may need a limited amount of people. But you do need people. None of us are an island to ourselves. And if we get to the place where we become that, there's something wrong up here. There's something off upstairs. Because I don't care how introverted you are, you still need people. You need someone in your life to understand you, someone to share your dreams, your goals, your heart with, someone who will reciprocate that back to you. You need someone to love and someone to love you, someone to care and someone to care about you, back and forth. If we don't have that, we're not healthy. We'll grow sick. We'll become depressed. We'll get lonely. And a sense of despair sets in. Because what good is it if you gain the whole world and you lose the very thing? Your soul is that which wants to connect with others. It's that which desires companionship. It's desiring to share your emotions, your feelings, your intuitions, your everything, your aspirations with somebody. We all like a pat on the back, don't we? Who's going to pat you on the back if there's not a hand there to do it? And who are you going to pat on the back when you're proud of somebody for what they've done? You say, well, I got a cat, I got a dog, I've got an animal, I've got a bird, I've got this. It ain't the same, and you know it. That cat's looking at you like, I can't wait till they die because I'll eat that carcass. It's the only animal that'll eat a dead body. Did you know that? It's one of the few. Your dog won't, but your cat will. And some of you love your cats. And I'm not saying, hey, cats are bad. I'm just telling you that's a fact. And we'll spend all our time into an animal that can't wait for us to die so it can eat us. So that's what a waste of empathy. What a waste of our energy. I'm not saying it's wrong to have a cat. I've got a cat. I love my cat. I can't pet it because I'm allergic to it, but I love my little cat. I rescued it. But listen, I need more than a cat. I need people. Even though I'm an introvert, I may not need a lot of people, but I do need people. And I need someone to love, to care about, to cherish, to think about, to give to empathize with, to share. Otherwise, life's miserable. So for all you INFJs that love your memes, that brag about how I don't need anybody, you brag about don't knock on my door, don't call me, don't text me, don't do this, don't do that. I'm an introvert. I'm proud of being by myself and being all alone and blah, blah, blah. Sure, we need that time alone. Sure, we need to recharge. Sure, we need time to process. Sure, we need a time and space to back away from people. Absolutely. We all do. But that doesn't mean we want to live our life in isolation, because that is a miserable way to live. Love all of you. Take care. God bless.